Welcome, welcome, welcome everyone to Live from NCCE. I'm your host, Tammy Dunbar, and I am thrilled to be here today with our guest, Jeff Bradbury. Jeff is a dear, dear friend. I've known Jeff, oh my God, Jeff, probably more than 10 years at least. Jeff is amazing. Jeff is oh my gosh, just to go through your list, let me see. ISTE award-winning digital learning strategist, educational broadcaster, public speaker, and a published author. We are not worthy. And by the way, I knew Jeff back when. Haha, look at that, Jeff. Purple hats.
I still have that purple
On
hat.
the NCCE hunt. We did really well. We'll just tell everybody we won and they don't need to know that we didn't. Mm-hmm. So Jeff, welcome, welcome. It's been so long since you and I have just sat down and had a conversation. So tell us, I mean, we're going to talk about your book, obviously, but I want to know tell the audience about your educational journey. Where did you start? Because you were a music teacher. How did you get from music teacher to digital coaching?
Well, first of all, thank you for having me on, and thank you for NCCE for producing this amazing event. And each and every month, you guys have great content out there. It's hard to believe. 25 plus years ago, started off as an orchestra teacher, went into instructional coaching, did a spatter as a district administrator. For the last 2 years, I've been teaching middle school. And honestly, my mission right now is to support schools, support classrooms, and help instructional coaches in any way possible. Specifically, how do they keep their jobs, especially when we're in a world with budget cuts and school districts not understanding what an instructional coach is, what an instructional coach does. And I'm amazed every time I ask a coach what their job is, and they're really still not sure about it. So I've been on a hunt for the last several years trying to make sure that we keep this concept called the instructional coach, so that way teachers and students can have one-to-one effective professional learning in the classroom.
So what is your vision? What answer are you expecting when you ask them, what does your job entail? What is your job supposed to accomplish?
Well, this is the problem that we have, right? If I ask an instructional coach what is their job, they usually come up with something similar to, I help teachers. I go into classrooms, I have meetings, I do coaching cycles. And unfortunately, that's just not the job. That's how they do the job. If you look at this from a higher lens, a school district has a strategic plan. And in that strategic plan, it says we're going to raise the reading scores. Well, how do we do that? Well, we're going to hire a reading coach. We're going to hire a reading coach so that way we have somebody in the classrooms supporting and seeing things at that 100,000-foot level. So their job of the reading coach is to raise the scores, is to support the strategic plan, is to essentially help district leadership make their benchmarks. Now, how they do that is by going in and building relationships, having one-to-ones, doing coaching cycles, meeting with teachers, working with students, etc. But when we don't understand why we're there, that's when school districts say, oh, you're not valuable. Because if I don't know what you're doing and I just think that you're going into classrooms, then why should I keep paying you? If I look at you and say, you're actually the way that I'm completing my school improvement plan, you're the way that the superintendent is getting his or her goals down, now I actually need you. And so that's when we started to figure out, okay, how do we start to come up with a concept here where we can really figure out how instructional coaches can make an impact in their school systems and in their school districts. And that's when I started work on my book, Impact Standards, designing district systems that power K-12 learning. How do we take this concept of you are the fulcrum of the school district, right? If I'm going to lift the school district, I need to have somebody that is not only in the classrooms, but in the central office rooms as well, too. And how do we figure out all that? And that's the instructional coaching position. Let's face it, there are so many school districts out there that are spending millions of dollars in salary on coaches. And next year, they're not going to. I remember last year being at ISTE, and I'm not going to say the school districts, but a very big school district in Georgia, 2 instructional coaches left. A very big school district in the Cheese State, 4 or 5 instructional coaches left for dozens of schools. And it's coming up with this concept that, look, if we're going to move the needle here, we can't do it without you. Or I can look at it and say, oh, you're just somebody that goes into the classroom and talks to teachers. I can get rid of you. And that's just not the way to do things.
No, no, 100%. But I love that. It's just such a simple know your why, right? Why are you here? I love that.
It's
So
conducting. You have a music background, right? And I have a music background. What
we
is
do.
the job of a conductor? It's simple. They don't need you to wave the stick around.
No, no,
You
they
have
don't.
one job. It's to inspire. That's it. I'm going to say, this is how we're going to play the music. I'm going to shake my hips. I'm going to wave my stick around, and hopefully things happen. And that's what an instructional coach does. I'm not the one teaching the kids. I'm not the one building the lessons. I'm going to inspire you to do whatever the flavor of the day is. And hopefully then that makes the music sound good, or raises the test scores, or and gets a kid to read, whatever it happens to be. But
No, I love
our
that. I
job
love
of
that metaphor.
instructional coaches, we're the through. We do things through instructional coaching. We do things through relationships. And if we use the word through instead of and, I think education would be a lot easier some days.
Wow. And you also hit upon one of my favorite words, relationships.
Yep.
No matter where you're at, if it's student teacher, if it's teacher to peer to peer, admin to teacher, I mean, it's all about building that trust and that. But to be a good conductor, Maestro,
Mhm.
do you not need to put a lot of work into your knowledge and yourself and, knowing? I would imagine a good instructional coach would have to be able to differentiate and be able to look at a teacher and say, oh, this is the strategy you need with your students, but over in room 9, this person needs something totally different teaching styles, totally different class. Yes.
One of my favorite pieces that I ever wrote was called, Do You Want to Hire a Tech Coach or a Tech Conductor?
Yes.
And the way that I look at a school district is this. You're standing on the orchestra podium, and in front of you is 40 to 50 string players, 10 violin firsts, 10 violin seconds, 8 violas, cellos, basses. All of them have to be doing the same exact thing, and they have a leader. They have that inner quartet, if you will. And there are times where, as a conductor, I'll grab a violin and I'll play and I'll say, this is how we're going to do things. And then the leader looks at everybody behind them and goes, here's the way it works. Here's the bowing. Here's the articulate, whatever it happens to be.
Mm-hmm.
The woodwinds and brasses, I would never go into the orchestra, pick up an oboe, play it, and go, this is how it is. They're very refined. They're very specialized. I can share with them how I want to hear the sound come out and what the phrasing is, but I'm never going to tell them how to play the oboe. When you look at a school district, your strings are your elementaries. I've got many 4th grade teachers. I've got many 3rd grade teachers, and they all have lead teachers. They've all got, some kind of section leader. If I can get that concert master to do something, then the concert master is going to look at all the first violins and go, okay, here's how the lessons work. Here's the technology behind it, and follow me. We're going to get there. And the same thing, once you get into the middle schools and the high schools, I'm not going to tell you how to teach history, but I am going to show you a great way to inspire a student through a technology, through a turn and talk, through something else. But I'm not going to ever feel like I'm going to walk into some teacher's classroom and show them how to do a science experiment.
Yeah.
And so when you start looking at things like, okay, which methods work well for which type of teacher? And again, lots of time in the classroom, lots of time on the podium, you start to realize there's a lot of similarities to this. And if you can figure out how to get your inner quartet to talk to each other and go, yes, this is how 3rd grade's going to do it. So this is how 4th grade's going to do it. So this is how 6th grade's going to do it. And then you can extrapolate. Once you get into the middle and high school, here's how the science department's going to work. Here's how the math, it's the same concepts, right?
Wow.
But it all goes back to what happens. And you don't need a stick. You don't need a conducting baton. You just need to build a relationship and inspire somebody to move towards ultimately what you are the conduit of, which is what's the school improvement plan saying we should be doing by the end of the year? What is the strategic plan promising the community 2, 3, 4 years out? If you can manage that, you really should be set forever. But if you're not able to do that, then yeah, you are in the classroom just talking to teachers without a goal. When you are a conductor, you always have to be in three places at the same time. It's where am I? Where do I want to be? But what did I just listen to? And how do I adjust myself in the future? So you've always split yourself. And it's the same thing. I'm going to walk into your classroom and have a conversation with you, but I know where I want you to go. I might not be talking about it right now, but I know where I want to get you in the future based on, again, strategic goals, the school improvement plan, all of those different things. And so where do we want to go? Where do we want to move? Which battles do we want to pick? Which topics? Some days I'm going to walk into your room, Tammy, and I'm going to go, how's the kids? And some days I'm going to walk in and go, so how was that lesson? And you just have to understand that it's all about building relationships and taking a little bit of data and showing up and making sure people know that you're there and you're on their side.
Yeah, I absolutely love that. That's a wonderful comparison because I was thinking about how when I was teaching fifth grade and we did have our little cadre of fifth grade teachers, and it was like each one of us had a little special talent or a gift for a certain subject or a certain thing, and we were allowed the opportunity to observe each other. I always think observation is so powerful rather than me just yakking at somebody, come in and see how it works. And then when a teacher sees how something's incorporated, how a lesson works, how management works for fifth grade management is huge.
Mhm.
Or like I'm looking at the screen right now, I see you've got your screen up and it says, what if you could get back 5 hours a week? If we can show other teachers, hey, here's how you can save time on the mundane, boring, repetitive stuff. And so you have more time to plan something that's enriching and exciting and elevating for students, right? So you not only have to inspire the first chair, but you have to inspire the first chair to share that inspiration with the whole row, right?
It's not easy. But at the same time, it's extremely easy because you just need to know where you're going. You're always going to have people in the back seat, in my case, three, going, are we there yet? Are we there yet? Are we there?
Yeah,
We're,
yeah.
we're not there yet. We're always halfway because you can always get better at something, but we're always looking at, where have we gone and going, all right, are we there yet? So, making sure that we have the right tools, making sure we have the right vision, making sure we have the right support.
And that's so important. So let's kind of shift a little bit because to have that support and have that inspiration, because we can't clone you and put you in all of the districts in the United States. You've written the book Impact Standards: Designing District Systems That Power K-12 Learning. Talk to us about how I know the beginning of it is about designing a digital learning strategic plan. I
Mhm.
mean, how do you come into a place and even start a plan? I mean, where do you start when you've got a place that is just not functioning well?
The nice part about it is the first part should be done for you. As an instructional coach, you're not responsible for this document. It's created by the superintendent, it's created by the
Okay.
council, it's created by the community, it's created by a series of people, right?
Right.
And then they're going to, it's like going out with the tablets. It's like, okay, this is what we're doing. How are we going to do it? You should be the answer. So I often ask coaches, well, have you read your strategic plan? Oh, yeah. No, 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 no. Yes, yes, yes. Where are you in it? And usually their answer is, well, I don't see the word coach in there. And I went, that's why you're having problems.
Oh,
You
wow.
need to put the word coach in there. Right. So again, reading scores, we're going to do that. We want to build community relationships. Well, hey, why don't I create a parent university where I can create an environment where parents come and they learn and they train and we bring in the community members to teach it. Why can't the coach be involved in that? Why can't we have the coach be right? So the coach is more than just teacher in classroom. The coach is your conduit to success.
Man, I love that. I love the thought that people are putting these strategic plans together and they're not even putting the coach in there at all.
Right.
That's insane, actually. And I think you used a term, offensive coordinator.
So there's a few things that I talk about in this, and one of them is that concept of know your role, right?
Yeah.
I don't need to go down the genealogy tree here, right? But when you're looking at a school district, oftentimes people are put under the wrong ladder. The tech coaches are under the tech director, and the instructional coaches are under the curriculum director. Why? Now we're suddenly fighting each other for the same teacher. We're fighting each other for the same 5 minutes of prep. If a tech coach walks into the fourth grade teacher, they're always going to say, no, I have a reading coach meeting right now. I don't need you. Well, can't we all get along?
Yeah.
So why does the tech coach have to go under the tech director, right? Isn't technology an instructional issue?
Yes.
Right? An
Yes.
instructional support, however you want to call it, right? So what is the relationship between a technology coach and a reading, math, STEM, special ed, whatever coach, right? Shouldn't they be brother and sister rather than first cousins? Thinking that, of course, you have a coach level, you have a director level, you have a superintendent level, right? First cousins. Yeah. And the same goes through. Even if you just have a tech coach, what is the relationship between that tech coach and the IT staff? If I walk into your room and I see that the bulb is broken, am I allowed to ask, whatever, the IT staff to go fix that? Or do I need to go up the ladder to come back down the ladder? What kind of relationship is the district asking us to build with each other? Does the tech coach and the IT staff, are they brother and sister, meaning they have the same boss? Or are they cousins? I've been in a district where my boss was the assistant superintendent, but then there was a tech director and then the IT staff. So they were actually, hold on here, first cousins once removed.
Wow.
What is that relationship like? Because if I then go to that IT guy and go, can you help with the bulb? And the IT guy goes to his boss and goes, Jeff's asking me to do things. Should I listen? And then they go to his, just fix the bulb, right? And so what is the relationship between all of these things? And the answer is, what does it matter? You're all here for the students.
Oh my gosh. Yes. I always say if you're focused on the students, you can't go wrong. I love this. So do you find that a lot of districts, that the admins are the one writing the strategic plan rather than bringing on the whole team, much as we see, educational laws and rules and such being put together by people who aren't in the classroom?
I don't think a strategic plan is something that one person can do. Obviously, the superintendent probably does about 75 to 90% of it, but there's certainly a committee that comes in. Now, again, I've worked in large districts of 14,000 students plus. I've worked in tri-districts. I've worked with archdiocese. I've worked with private schools. Clearly, the smaller the school and the private the school, one person, two persons, right? Like these are the goals. One of my passions is working with grad students now. And so I actually teach grad courses on the side, and I'm working with a number of students right now who are actually from Catholic schools. And there's no districts, right? So it's the head of the school is the head of the school is the head of the school, and they're the ones that so things it's the same concept, but it's just a little different, right? Because there is no school board. You're the person. Either way, there's a vision for where we want to go in the future. If not, then the boat has no rudder.
Yeah. No, you got to have the vision.
You got to have the vision. And how do we complete the vision? Well, it's the superintendent's not going to do this. They're superintendenting. Somebody's got to be in the classroom, and that's not the principal.
Yeah.
So who is that? Oh, I guess I do need that person. And if we just flip that around, yeah.
So is that I know you talk about the lone nut first follower. Is that the lone nut?
There's a very popular video that is, we call it the guy dancing on the hill. And it's in the book. I have the whole thing written out. And basically it starts with one person dancing. And the whole concept of the video is, how do you start a movement?
Yeah.
So you have the one guy dancing, and then there's another guy. And the second guy is really just there to validate the first guy. And then once you have the two guys dancing, you have another person that comes in, and that person is basically saying, yep, those guys, girls, whatever, are correct. I'm going to show you how to do this.
Yeah.
And then you watch 3 people come, 5 people come, 20 people come. And I always ask the question, who's the first guy? Who's the lone nut? Who has to be the one to dance? And in every presentation, Tammy, somebody says, oh, the coach is the first one. And that is why we fail. Because if the coach is dancing, but the teachers don't see the reason for the dancing, then you're a volunteer program.
Yep.
So who's the first person that has to dance? And it has to be the superintendent. We're going Google. Great. We're all going to go Google. But what happens if the superintendent's still using Microsoft? Doesn't work, right? What happens if the superintendent says, we're going to raise the reading scores, but the principal says, don't worry about that. I got you. We're good. We're great.
Yeah, no.
Well, then what's the message? But if the super says that we're going Google and the principal stands up and says we're going Google and then the coach says, I'm going to show the classrooms how to go Google. Well, then guess what? You're needed because you're actually validating what the superintendent wants. You are the way that the superintendent is going to get and meet their goals. And so what do? You get that quartet, if you will, to say, here's how you use doc sheets and slides. And then hopefully other people look and go, oh, well, if they're doing it. And then finally, if you look through the innovation curve, you go to the end where the laggards are and they go, oh, I guess I have to, because everybody, it's now on me. And that's, my friends, how you make a movement, or that's how you play a symphony, is everybody's going to have to do that.
No, I love that. I love the superintendent being the lone nut. That I never thought about our own district when we went one-to-one back in 2014. It was our superintendent who said, we're going Microsoft and every student's getting a computer. And then he got a committee to start picking computers. And then he started teaching the teachers how to use Microsoft products. And I kept telling everybody, this is amazing. My superintendent is teaching us. I mean, look at, if he's on board, we can do this. So this just proves your point. And then you also, by the way, in the book, talk about turning parents into partners. And I'm huge into, I mean, when I've always known parents are they have to be partners. When I taught in the online academy, even more so. But once you get the parents on board, oh my stars, you can make a lot of big strides and a lot of differences. So you want to address how you talk about that in the book?
When the pandemic hit, one of the things that I was tasked with as our district's at that time first and only instructional coach, 25 buildings, 14,000 people, was, why don't you create a parent university? And this was a concept that was actually started in one of our elementary schools. And the superintendent said, no, we're not doing that in elementary school. We're doing that for everybody. Makes sense, right?
Yeah, it does.
And so we started off with, let's just have a couple nights a month where we found learning library media specialists and teachers to do the basic, how are we doing the pandemic, right? Like that was the introduction. But then it turned into, we're teaching parents how to do email. We're teaching parents how to do calendars. We're teaching parents how to do Canva and how to do, but then it turned into, well, if that parent is a lawyer, can we have that parent be the guest of the night, and they're going to teach how to fill out the FAFSA, or they're going, whatever that kind of a thing is, right?
Yes.
So then it starts to take on a life of its own, where, to steal from, I think it was ABC, it's must see TV night.
Yeah.
And this is the way it is, right?
Yeah.
It was almost as big as Live from NCCE. Right? It was almost that big. And we had a wonderful time trying to bring the people together. If I can't fill the auditorium, I'm going to fill a Zoom room. And so going from, okay, this is how the pandemic is going to work, to here's some topics, here's some things, to, okay, now go learn how to fill out these forms and how to apply for colleges and it was great. It was out of necessity, but we did it. And it was one of my favorite projects that I was put in task of.
Necessity is the mother of invention, right?
Only for
bears. That was when it struck me, we always had back to school nights. And that was when I started having back to school nights online for the parents, where it was, here's how you access your child's homework. Here's how you see how they're doing. Here's how you get a hold of me, and make sure there are multiple ways, right? So that when the parents have all that power, they're going to use it. They're going to check up. They're going to text me. They're going to, right?
Yeah.
I mean, I love this idea of training the parents. All right. So we're coming close to the end, but I did want to touch upon, because you've got so much content on the TeacherCast network, but I want to talk to you. I want to hear what you're thinking about AI. I'm hearing some terrifying things when you watch the YouTube videos and they're talking about AI taking over the world and taking away jobs. But how do you feel about AI in the classroom, and how do you see teachers harnessing that power for good and not ill?
I think we need to define the term artificial intelligence. There are so many teachers that when they see or hear AI, they immediately go to the GPTs, the Geminis, the all that stuff. I would like to teach students how to go into something like PowerPoint, Canva, Keynote, whatever those presentations are, and through a one button click or through a simple prompt, their slide deck projects are done.
Mm-hmm.
Today, we were making movie posters using Canva. And I showed them how to put a background on, how to put an image, then remove the background. And I want to have a shoe on the thing. Well, I looked through all of the Canva shoes. I didn't find what I liked. I looked through Google Images. Well, how much time am I taking now? But in Canva, there's a thing that says generate image. So we did a simple prompt for a brown shoe, top down, no foot in it. And in 10 seconds, there was a shoe. I removed the background. Guess what? I'm done.
Wow.
That's AI.
Yes.
That's 100% artificial intelligence. Why is this a bad thing? Now, if we say all AI, right? Okay, well, there are times where you need to use the calculator. Like, let's just face it. Some things are bigger than what we have time for. Now, if I wanted to do a lesson on image search, certainly could. I could have shown them how to generate through and do all the search operators and make that same shoe pop up. But who's got 20 minutes for that now? I wasn't teaching that skill. I was teaching be creative.
Yes.
Learn a little bit about graphic design. Now, if you are going to talk about things like using ChatGPT, Copilot, Gemini, moderation, but let's face it, is the world really going to change and go backwards based off of our opinions right now on this show?
No.
Oh, so what you're saying is the world is going to move forward. Okay. Are we preparing the kids for that?
Thank you. Yes.
And we can show, oh, well, should kids be on screens or not? That's not the question that we're asking. I take the screen away from my triplets. By the way, that was 28 minutes before I mentioned them for the first time. I take the screen away from my triplets all the time. Yeah. Does that mean that I don't spend 10 minutes and I show them how to use things? One of the best projects that I did to show them how to do a little bit of prompt engineering, we used a program called Notion. And we learned how to create a simple database through prompting of all the Marvel shows and movies. And then how do we add the directors? And then how do we add the actors? And how do we add the categories? And then we opened up each of the movies. And as we were watching them, so we were spending dad time together. Now we're going to ask AI to write me a book report. Oh my goodness, you're cheating on a book. No. I'm actually showing them how to create the way that I want to help them create. I'm not showing them how to cheat on their English paper. I'm showing them how to prompt something, read it, think about what was written, and then prompt it again, and then come up with something. Oh, I like that paragraph, but what about? And how about? And what else could I? Oh, AI's told me this, and this about Tony Stark. I wonder if it can find this, and that.
Yeah.
And so I'm trying to show off as a parent how to get it to spark some creativity. Because
and you're also teaching some digital literacy. You're also
100%.
teaching netiquette, right? You're also teaching responsible use of it.
Well, after we did the Marvel thing, we started doing recipes. Hey, I like this food, and this food. Can you create a database of dinner recipes that I like and can cook with dad?
Oh, wow.
Am I teaching them how to cheat on their science? No. I'm actually showing them the beginning of agentic learning. Yes. I now have a database full of things that I like. This is fact. Now over here, I want you to reference the fact in this project that I'm working on right now.
I love that. And I wish we had more parents that were, I'm sure we've got a lot out there, but it's so nice when parents model it, work with their kids, and show they're not afraid to use it, but also show that it has some, ChatGPT doesn't always get the right answer. It's gotta start and end with human interaction,
Oh,
right?
we're not teaching them the right way because we're scared of it, or the pendulum is already being pulled to the other side.
Yeah.
I was not in my classroom one day. I was in central office and I happened to turn on one of my monitoring programs. I saw a kid that I didn't ask him to, but he had Chat GPT on because he was writing a project for me. I'm not allowed to tell the student the right way to do things because we're not there yet.
No.
So how do we do all of that stuff if we're naturally nervous about stuff? And so I did find the student. I'm like, "So tell me what you're doing. I mean, how you doing it? Like, what do you think? Try this, try that." Going back to the movie thing, I did show my students today. Come up with a title for your movie. Oh, I don't know what my title. Well, go to do a Google search and say generate 5 movie titles for an autobiography based on my life, and this is the. So I didn't Chat GPT or Gemini it. I guess I kind of did because it was a Google search, but I mean, it was just a basic Google
Yep.
search. If I can save you 5 minutes by coming up with some ideas that you then can do something else with,
Exactly.
that's no different than me picking up a violin and going, here's 5 ways to sing a melody. You figure out which one you like.
Oh my God. You played me like a fiddle. That was perfect. Oh my God, Jeff, it's so wonderful catching up with you. And don't forget to get out there on Amazon, everybody. Impact Standards, Designing District Systems that Power K-12 Learning. It's got 4.7 out of 5 stars. It's rocking it. Buy it for your favorite instructional coach or buy it for yourself. Do yourself a favor and do that. And then also go and check Jeff's teachercast.net. Check out all of oh my God, Jeff, how many videos do you have up on that?
15 years worth.
Yeah. Oh, he's celebrating 15 years this year. Congratulations.
15 years worth. There is so much stuff that's going on here. If you're an instructional coach, I now have a resource for your first 90 days. But
Oh, wow.
it's the middle of April. Great. I also have a reference for your last 90 days too. So there's so many different things out there. If you're looking for coaching strategies, getting a job, communicating, reflection stories, you name it. It's kind of there. I've also got some great Notion templates. If you're an instructional coach, I got over 300 coaching podcasts. Here's my first 90 days, but there's stuff on digital media. There's stuff on brand building, on email marketing, tons and tons of free resources. Here you go. That is out there. So if you're looking for toolkits or how to do Google Vids or forms or, you know what, I've even for you, Tammy, because you've always been helpful, I've also got a ton of Microsoft stuff and Google stuff. And, we're going to be going to ISTE soon. We're going to do a lot of recordings out there. So if you've never been to an ISTE before, there is dozens and dozens of FETC stuff and ISTE stuff and conference things. And it's been 15 years.
ISTE's amazing. Now, I think our people from the NCCE conference, Kirsten's going to be there. So be sure you find Kirsten there and tell her how terrific NCCE 2026 was. And maybe we can get you out to Washington for NCCE 2027, Jeff.
I would love to come out. I've always wanted to get out there. It's been one of those bucket list items I would love to check off, to come out and support instructional coaches out on the West Coast.
Outstanding. We would love that. Jeff Bradbury, thank you so much for taking time to join us, sharing your time, your talent, your gifts. We appreciate you. We're going to go out and get the book and Impact Standards. And everyone, thank you for joining us. And we'll see you next month in May on Live from NCCE. Bye, everyone. We're still live. But it was a great show. I think we lost our producer.
Chapter 1.
One. Well, we could do extra content, I guess. Hey, you still have your purple hat?
I do.
You do?
I do. Yeah. I don't know where my significant is not in the house tonight, or else I would know where it is. But I know that I do have it.
I've got mine. That was fun. I did not like climbing up the steps to the Mile High State Capitol.
Am I correct? We had a cab that we were all in. We drove around Denver, didn't we?
Yeah. Well, it was the hunt, so we
Yeah.
had to. It was like a scavenger hunt throughout the entire downtown area of Denver. Pretty
When
fun.
this gets done, can you send over the raw video? And would I be able to share that?
Yeah, no, that's I'm sure that's fine. I'm sure Bobby can do that. I'm trying to see if Bobby is around. There's Bobby. We are done. He may have had to step away. Thought we were. It's a good it was a good conversation. Some
Let's do it
really
again.
really good stuff. So, but it says we're still live and Bobby hasn't come in, so it's all good. If you're still watching, hey everybody. But you know, that's part of what we do when technology goes wrong, right, Jeff? We improvise. So, oh, well, Jeff, you know, we never talked about what's your Twitter handle, your social media handles?
Well, most of my TeacherCast stuff is at TeacherCast. And I have been trying to get all of that organized so I can be more present with things.
Nice.
Haven't really done the socials in like years. Feel bad.
Well, you were on. I saw you posted about this show on LinkedIn, Facebook,
Right.
and the Twitters.
One of the things that I've been working on is reorganizing all of my Notion stuff. And so I just databased all of my social links. So they're in front of me, right?
Nice.
You do a group and you put the group stuff over here.
Yeah.
You do another group. Like, now it's all fresh. I'm just trying, like, now I have a doc. Everything's in front. What do we do? And we'll go from there. So I want to get more present with things, and just, you know, ISTE's coming.
Yeah. Oh gosh, when is ISTE?
28th of January. July, what are we at? June?
July. So it's close to the end of July.
It's the end of June.
Yeah, we're done. Yeah.
We had 10 snow days, so my last day now is the 20th. I was going to have a 2-week break